bringing sports, entertainment, and technology podcasts together. This is SPNT.
Red vs. Red is brought to you by Stitcher Smart Radio. Download the Stitcher Smart Radio app today at stitcher.com/SPNT. What's happening, football fanatics? That's right. It's Red vs. Red, episode 16 of the podcast. Glad you could join us. Hope everybody had a fantastic Thanksgiving holiday in the States. I know I did. I know my throat did. A little under the weather, so you're going to have to bear with me this episode. And again, hope everybody had a safe, wonderful, happy Thanksgiving here on this side of the pond. On the other side of the pond, my good friend Mike Smith. I know you didn't have Thanksgiving, but you had a lot of fun watching some football over the weekend.
Yeah, no Thanksgiving, no turkey yet, but yeah, we had plenty to talk about in the Barclays Premier League this weekend.
Yeah, there was an awful lot. We saw a coach of the Blues make his debut last week. Don't know if it's going to help them out at all. It doesn't seem so, but again, that's why they call it the silly season, right, man?
Well, the silly season's usually in the off season, but I think right. Chelsea are quite are the opposite. So
12-month silly season, right?
Well, they've always been a bit of a joke club, really, as far as I'm concerned, and they're certainly living up to that reputation at the moment. But this show's not about the Blues from West London. It's about the Reds from Liverpool and the Red Devils from Manchester. So
absolutely, this week Mike won the coin toss and he elected to let me go first.
Yep.
So I'll kick things off with a little Manchester United talk. Well, I know there were a lot of fans out there who were interested and excited to see Sparky make his return to Old Trafford. Well, guess what? Didn't happen. QPR sacked Mark Hughes last Friday. I believe it was Friday. Ahead of the fixture at Old Trafford with QPR. And now Harry Redknapp assumes the role of manager for QPR. We'll see if he can keep them up in the Premier League. I doubt it. Again, United winners. Really wasn't even the score shows 3-1, but I mean, come on, it was QPR, bottom of the table. United never going to lose that game at home at Old Trafford. They win 3-1. And then today, literally just minutes ago, United wrap up another victory. Although this one might be a little more concerning, considering they only win 1-0 over West Ham. The Hammers come into Old Trafford after giving up a goal in 33 seconds, the fastest goal in the Premier League this year, Mike. And yet, United only win 1-0. Didn't look all that great. They did manage to keep a lot of the possession. Fortunately, I was able to watch this game while I was at work via the Watch ESPN app. Appreciate that. But when you look at the possession, there weren't a whole lot of chances created. Even the goal itself was kind of fluky. I'm kind of disappointed with today's result, Mike.
Well, you say you're disappointed with today's result, but just to haul you over the coals about the QPR game, it was 0-0 going into half-time, and QPR took the lead with Jamie Mackie in the 52nd minute. So, and then the United, as matter of course, and read the script, and Johnny Evans, Darren Fletcher, and Hernandez got the three goals. So it wasn't really United's star players that came out to shine. It was more the lesser of the first 11 got the goals for United, which is depressing for the rest of the Premier League. But you know, a win's a win. And I think even although QPR lost the game, they actually played a lot better than they had been under Sparky. So don't like to say it, but maybe those players were maybe hankering for Sparky to leave the club sooner rather than later. And I probably think that Redknapp, going into January transfer window, may have a chance of, getting a few deals and securing, maybe have a better chance of securing QPR's Premier League survival than Mark Hughes did. And you disagree? You disagree?
Well,
I don't know, because Redknapp has got a good record at saving clubs. He's that type of manager. He's good at the old fire sale, and he's good at the
But what do they have to sell?
Well, in terms of they weren't selling one because the chairman can no doubt afford the actual wages of QPR. I'm looking more at loan signings, more buying players from areas where you wouldn't necessarily think of. But Harry might have a few scouting reports here and there, and I think that generally Harry he'll boost the confidence of the players. He'll actually tell them exactly where they need to be. He'll keep it simple, get them a bit more confidence in them. And looking at that, QPR did actually manage to get a good 0-0 away at Sunderland. And although they're bottom of the table, I still think 14 games gone, there's plenty of time to arrest the situation. Moving on though, United 1, West Ham 0. Bit of it was after 33 seconds, but West Ham have always been a little bit of somewhat of a bogey team, United over the years, and Sam Allardyce, he plays that, very much the defensive football, and he likes to hit on the counter attack, but all that goes to bed, doesn't it? Really, when United takes such an early lead.
It's funny that you say that though, Mike, because correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm trying to think the last time Sam Allardyce visited Old Trafford as the opposing manager. I'm trying to think. I believe, I could be wrong on this, but I believe it was when he was managing Blackburn. It was one of his last games as Blackburn manager, and Berbatov scored 5 goals and an 8-2 or 8-1 thumping right around Thanksgiving, because I remember being at my in-laws' house and seeing Berbatov scored 5 goals. Now, I could be wrong. Am I right? Is that right?
I can't say I recall it off the top of my head, but I think there is some record that says that Sam Allardyce has never beaten Manchester United as manager of Bolton, Blackburn Rovers, Newcastle United, and West Ham. Him and Fergie are very good friends. They're very pally on the horse racing circuit. I think they might actually co-own a racehorse together. But I think this West Ham team he's got Sam Allardyce. They don't play nice football, but they play effective football. And United to only win one, it's a win. It's a 1-0 win in a Wednesday night game. But I think in terms of the looking at the table, the goal difference is 15. Manchester City's goal difference is 17. United have actually lost the title last season on goal difference. They really need to start putting the goals away against the likes of West Ham, because Man City are more than capable, with the strength of their bench, of doing so. And I think that's why Fergie went out and blew the budget on Robin van Persie, was to address that situation. But, there's no point scoring lots of goals if you're going to concede some at the back. And I know they got a 1-0 win today, United, but against other teams, that's not necessarily that's not necessarily the case. And I think the Manchester derby as well is coming up relatively soon. I think that game's going to go a long way into deciding the title. I mean, looking at the table at the moment, it's United on 33, City on 32, and then there's a 6-point gap between Chelsea. So I think already you're seeing that United and City are running away. It's going to be a 2-horse race yet again for the Premier League this season.
I think when you look at today's result, though, Mike, I think we keep forgetting the one thing that happened today, and it's something that United have not done at all this season, and that is keep clean sheets. And you have to build upon that. The fact that they kept the hammers out of the net today is good, leading up to the Manchester derby here, which is in just over a week and a half. So I think when you look at when you consider who was playing in defense today, you had Raphael at right back, Evans and Smalling playing in the middle, who I thought Evans was probably the man of the match. He had a fantastic game today for United. Evra on the left side. So it's not your normal back four for United, but I thought they managed well. Lindegaard played well in net. And again, it's not like the Hammers had too many chances, at scoring goals, but still, a clean sheet's a clean sheet. And when you look at, their upcoming fixtures, they've got Reading, another team that's in the relegation zone here, coming up on Saturday. So there's some opportunities here to make up that goal differential. The most important thing, though, I think, they kept the Hammers out of the net without their best back four.
Yeah, but looking at the team sheet there, West Ham did put out a really defensive lineup. It was very much 4-5-1.
Well, Andy Carroll didn't do much either.
No.
Surprise!
Surprise. But it was a very... The way West Ham was set up, Kevin Nolan was supposed to support Andy Carroll, and he just didn't seem to do that during the game. And even the substitutions they made, they didn't attempt to change the... Even when they were just 1-0 down, they didn't attempt to put a second striker up there. So I think that was a kind of a bit of a lost opportunity there for West Ham United, considering how shaky the back four at United has been this season. It's a lost opportunity, and it drives the likes of the rest of us football supporters insane to see a team go to Old Trafford and already be beaten before they've even stepped out on the pitch. With one also I'd like to address as well. Anders Lindegaard seems to have seized the number one spot, and all of a sudden the United back four seems to be playing a little bit better. I think that this back four has got more faith and more trust in Lindegaard than they do with David De Gea. Now, Ferguson is probably not going to be that irate in terms of you're still winning games. But for you guys to make an investment like that in De Gea for a guy that's supposed to, be the keeper of the future, and it's not happening for him at this moment in time, it must be somewhat disappointing.
I don't know. I don't know if they're necessarily disappointed. You think about it, you've got heavy investment, with their four strikers as well. You've got four guys up front. That's a lot of money spent. So, I don't know. I see what you're saying as far as the keeper situation goes. You did spend a lot on De Gea, and he's still young. I don't even know if he's 22 yet, Mike. I mean, he's still got a chance here to improve and get better. We've seen him struggle over the last couple of years, especially in the box in the 18 with balls in the air. So I don't know. I thought they invested in Lindegaard the year before. They didn't know what they had, and they still they were still. I believe Van der Sar was still in net. I could be wrong about that, but
Van der Sar's probably been the best keeper at United since Peter Schmeichel, though.
Right.
He could have stayed on and played until he was about 50 years old. He probably still would have been the best keeper at United. He was that good.
Very good.
But coming up now, it's this Saturday. United, like you say, they're away at Reading. It's a 5:30 kick-off here, so it's going to be on satellite television. Away at Reading, Reading will be looking forward to that game, but I shouldn't anticipate too many problems for United though to score a couple past them. But at the same time, it's an away game. You don't want to be conceding the goals. I mean, look at Man City have got a game against Everton at Eastlands. Now, historically speaking, Everton do quite well at City's ground, so that could be again. You could well be looking at 4 points clear going into the December Christmas period. That won't. Yeah, well, fingers crossed for you guys. That would not be such a bad that wouldn't be such a bad situation to find yourself in, especially as traditionally speaking, United tend to do better after Christmas than they do prior to Christmas, and also that leads into the 9th of December. Yeah, City versus United. You go in that game 4 points ahead, then you can make it 7.
7 points don't mean anything, though. We saw that a year ago, Mike. They had an 8-point lead, and they blew it.
Yeah, but it makes it more fun for the rest of us to watch, though. So that's
this is true.
You got to see it. You got to see it. That's from my point of view. I think there's more to come from this team. I really do, and I think Jones is back, Smalling's back, Ferdinand can still do a run out or two. Rooney, Hernandez, Van Persie. I think you'll be fine. I think you're going to be there. You'll be there to the end. I just think the main priority for United is score the goals and try and desperately keep their clean sheets. 1-0 wins isn't necessarily going to cut it this year, especially with the team that Man City's got. And hell, Man City also don't have the Champions League anymore.
True.
So they've got. I don't even think they qualify for the Europa League, and not even they even dropped down into that competition.
Wow.
So they've now got no distractions.
Just the
whatsoever.
FA Cup.
Well, they got the FA Cup though, but that's still they
Right.
play that game. They play it on Saturdays,
Right.
so it's not like it's a midweek distraction. So that's kind of the FA Cup's not really. I don't think really will be that much of a factor unless they start having to carry out on replays. I just think that United, there's far much more to come from this team.
For sure.
It'll be interesting to see what they do away at Reading on
4-0.
on Saturday.
4-0. Book it.
I'm gonna go for 2-1. They concede.
What?
United. They concede goals.
So do Reading.
Yeah, but United do concede. I know. Well, yeah, because I've given it's 2-1. United obviously score more, so Reading will concede more. But I think United will concede one.
All right. Reading have given up 10 goals away, or I'm sorry, at home this year. 10 goals in, let's see, how many fixtures? It doesn't say. I can't do that math. 1, 4, 5, 6. Six fixtures at home. They've given up 10 goals. I'm saying 4-0. Who's going to stop Van Persie? I wouldn't be surprised to see Welbeck start and United Sir Alex bring on Hernandez at halftime, because since they put him back in the starting lineup, he's not scoring. So I'll say, he's not scoring as much as he had been. So I'll say, from a prediction standpoint, 4-0.
I'll tell you what, Nick. I'll give you this. If Howard Rebb is the referee, it's 4-0 to United.
So what's your real prediction?
2-1.
All right. You heard it here
2-1.
first. I say 4-0. Mike says 2-1. It's halftime here on Red versus Red. Don't forget, you can email us at redversusred@spnt.tv. You can also give us a follow on Twitter at @SPNT_Red versus Red. We record this show live each and every Tuesday around 5 o'clock. We try to get started around 5. But we'd love to see you in the chat room. Mike Donnelly's in the chat room. Big Scottish football fan. That was a terrible Scottish accent.
Don't ever do that again.
I know. I can't do it because I'm ill. I have a sore throat. I do apologize. Lots of yelling and screaming over the Thanksgiving holiday. Thank you for putting up with my sore throat. We just wrapped up half number 1. We're getting set to talk a little Liverpool action here in half number 2. But, Mike, you have an announcement.
Just a quick shout out. It's a bit historic day for English football today. I'd like to put out a big happy birthday, a happy 150th happy birthday message to the Notts County Football Club. They're the oldest club in the English League, founded sometime in the mid-19th century. You guys do the maths. I'm all for the maths and that. But but just one big congratulations to them for continuing to going for all those years, for 150 years as a professional team, and they've not been relegated out of the Football League or anything like that. They've had the brief moments of glory, but nothing spectacular. They've just been quietly going along, and I just like to, they're proud club, traditional club. They actually they play in black and white stripes. And another story is when Juventus, the Italian team, were forming, Notts County actually sent them over black and white strips. So that's where Juventus adopted their colours, and as part of the celebrations for the 150th anniversary, Juventus had a friendly with them. They put out the likes of like Del Piero. They put out the Pirlo as well. They put out all their first team players, and that was just great for a club of their size. So
Del Piero, that's a name from the past. He's playing down in Australia now.
Yeah, he was one of my favourites players ever, Del Piero. So not blessed with a great amount of pace, but he always finds himself in those areas where he was just needed for Juventus, and he had an absolute sweet left foot when it came to from a free kick as well. It's probably one of the players I admired when I was growing up, as well as him and Robbie Fowler and the likes of Zidane and all that. So yeah, some old school mentions here on the Red versus Red.
Well, happy birthday, Notts County. Notts County football. Mike in the chat room says, I have to say, Nick, your Scottish accent is better than Seth MacFarlane's attempt in the film Ted, which I have not seen. But that wraps up halftime. Mike, kick off half number 2 with some Liverpool action.
Yeah, the mighty Reds. Well, not this week, unfortunately. This kick-off, they had a 0-0 away at Swansea, or as the British media likes to dub them, Swansea Loner, with the style of the tiki-taka passing football. Brendan Rodgers, ex-Swansea manager Brendan Rodgers, took the mighty Reds down to South Wales. It finished 0-0. Liverpool had the much better of the first half and could easily have gone in 2-0 up against the Swans. Highlights being Raheem Sterling had a volley which cannoned back off the crossbar. If that ball goes in, it's arguably one of the goals of the season. And Liverpool, just, again, the same old problems. We just couldn't put the ball yet again in the back of the net. And second half, Swansea came at Liverpool, and to be honest, the Reds were somewhat holding on for the result, for a 0-0 result. Finishes 0-0. Personally, I thought Swansea, they're a much better team than I think we all give them credit for. They play a lovely style of football, and quite frankly, I thought that was it was a good point away for an emerging young team like Liverpool. Moving on to tonight's action, Liverpool found themselves down in North London at White Hart Lane to face Tottenham Hotspur. Didn't go according to plan for the Reds tonight, with first half goals from Aaron Lennon and Gareth Bale securing a 2. At the half, it was 2-0 to Spurs. And a Gareth Bale own goal in the 72nd minute made it 2-1 to the Reds. Liverpool had a great number of chances to put the ball back in the net and take away a score draw and a valuable point away from North London, but I'm afraid it was just too much for them to ask. They go down to a 2-1 defeat, first defeat in 6-7 games. Disappointing, really. I went last week. I thought Spurs were there for the taking. I still thought they were there for the taking this week, but that's the Premier League for you. One minute you're on top, the next minute it all comes back in your face. One of the main talking points of the game will be the actions of Gareth Bale, who decided to get booked well for simulation. We're all going about how Luis Suarez, he dives here, he dives there. But actually, Gareth Bale has actually been booked twice this season for simulation. Will the British media kick off about diving, it's ruining the game? Yeah, they seem to target Luis Suarez. Yeah, you hear nothing about Gareth Bale.
Double standard.
Now, it is double standard, and why is that? Why is it that a Liverpool player, well, from Uruguay, from South America, is targeted over diving? Yet someone from Tottenham Hotspur, and he's from the British Isles, and that nothing gets said about him. It is double standards, and it just makes a complete joke of the whole fair play campaign. I just think, just accept diving, just accept it. It's part of the game. It's unfortunately, it's something it's never going to go away. They've been talking about it for years since I've been watching the game, but unfortunately, the only way to stamp it out is for referees to, just to send players off. But that'll never happen because the games will just end up finishing about 7 players on each side. It'll become a complete joke. I'm disappointed, really, that Bale chooses to do that. He's a man of many talents. He doesn't need to do it. I understand that he's a very pacey player and he'll go down probably easier than others in terms of when he's running at full pelt. But some of the diving recently from him has been absolutely atrocious. Another little stat for Gareth Bale this evening. He scored at one end, he scored at the other. Only one other player has done that this season, Nick. Do you know who that is?
I know who it is. Are you ready?
Yep.
Wayne Rooney.
Wayne Rooney has scored an own goal, and he has scored a goal at each end for both clubs. For his club.
The own goal was Rooney's first goal of the year. It
was, yeah. I actually predicted Wayne Rooney to be top goal scorer this season.
That was just
we
there's still time, Mike. There's still time.
There's still time. But Nick, both Manchester United and Liverpool have been both beaten by Spurs this season. It's a familiar...
Spurs. They're a lot of people kind of wrote them off because of their, I don't know, their off season. They get rid of Harry Redknapp, who arguably was their best manager in their history, maybe, possibly. I don't know. He was a manager that led them to Champions League berths. Probably should have had another one last year. Unfortunately, Chelsea won the cup, so they kind of booted them out of there. But I always thought AVB never got a fair rap at Chelsea. Never stood a chance. They never even gave him a chance to implement his system, implement his style of play. He had shown over in Portugal that he was able to win. I mean, it's not easy to do over there, to win ball games in any league. So I think that you're going to find that there's a lot more to AVB, and I wouldn't be surprised if Spurs end up in the top four. In fact, I even think I said that preseason that I thought they'd be top four.
Well, they're fifth at the moment, 23 points, just 3 behind West Brom. They're 2 points better off than Arsenal. They're ahead of Everton. In fact, they're the second highest London club. But just going on to just what you say about AVB not getting a fair crack at the whip at Chelsea. Apart from Arsenal, the other London clubs in the Premier League, Chelsea, Tottenham, West Ham, Fulham, and Queen's Park Rangers, all notoriously change manager quite frequently, especially Chelsea's case. I honestly do think that with it being on the London scene, that there is this appetite and this real demand for success, and that the fans aren't as patient as you may get at other clubs, say at the likes of like Everton, the likes of Stoke City, like Wigan Athletic as well. That you get other clubs from outside of the big smoke, so as you say, and they tend to stick with their managers. I just think that maybe it's a sorry trend, that maybe it's something we ought to expect from the London clubs, that they all tend to that they tend to change their manager a bit more frequently. But even listening to the phone-ins, a lot of Spurs fans had it in already for AVB, like Chelsea fans had it in for Rafa Benitez. You got to give him time. You got to give the man time. He's won titles at Porto. He won the Europa League at Porto, and Tottenham. They don't spend as much as Man City. They don't spend as much as Chelsea. They don't spend as much as Man United. They're not. You got to be realistic. They're not going to win the Premier League. What they're looking for is for Champions League football and to finish ahead of Arsenal. And you know what? They've done that in the last few seasons. And as a Liverpool fan, I'd love to be in Spurs' position. Not without changing the managers quite frequently, but the style of football they play, the players they have. I'd love to be in that. I would absolutely love to be in that position, but it's not. I doubt very much it's going to be for our Reds this season. And Tottenham putting us to bed 2-1. I think that's going to really hurt us come the end of the season when we're looking for maybe looking for European places at the end of the season. Just to I know it's somewhat a bit off topic about Europe. Did you see the headlines about the Champions League earlier this week?
Is this about where they're trying to get rid of the Europa League, basically?
Yeah, Michel Platini, who's the president of UEFA, has sounded off to the media that they're looking to expand the Champions League from 32 to 64 clubs.
Wow.
Now, from a personal point of view, if they scrap the Europa League, I'd be totally in favour. I think that the Europa League is far too big for what it is at the moment. There are far too many clubs in European competition.
There's a lot of clubs I've never even heard of.
Well, have you? I do my best. I kind of take pride in my research on this show, but even I've been hard pressed to find out about some of these teams this season I've seen.
Right.
But what is the point of having two huge competitions? You may as well just have one. And everyone gets an equal share of the TV revenue. You get domestic football at the weekends. You have European football in the midweek. you can imagine like the TV coverage would be awesome. You have the likes, it give the likes of Everton, give the likes of look at the moment like West Brom the chance to actually have the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona, AC Milan come to their grounds where they've never had that before. I think it would be a wonderful proposition, and I don't really tend to side upon Michel Platini and what a lot of the things he does, but I actually think that's actually a really good move and a really good idea, and I'd be quite happily in favour for any sort of move like that to occur.
So what would they do? Take the top 8 teams in the Premier League? Well,
yeah, because it all depends on what they call like the coefficients. American listeners to Red versus Red, the UEFA coefficients are kind of like it's kind of like the equivalent of the BCS bowls in college football, where it's kind of yeah, I know, complete utter mess, and it's one league is rated higher than the other, etc. But that's kind of the Premier League is out on top, so they have more teams in the Champions League, whereas look at the likes of Portuguese Premier League, they only have 2 teams in the Champions League and so forth. So it'd be something like the top 5 or 6 in the Premier League would secure Champions League, would be in the Champions League football. But I think it'd be a great idea, and I'd be quite happy to see it go forward. And I think it would also prevent too much European football happening on the other side of Christmas. Get it all out of the way, then it could be, say, maybe a straight knockout tournament going into after Christmas, which I think would be an absolutely wonderful addition.
Well, as it is now, the tournament ends the weekend of Memorial Day. You guys don't have Memorial Day, do you?
Is that May?
Yeah,
end of May. We just call it. We have the May bank. We have workers or May bank holiday, which is the beginning of May.
Oh, see, ours is at the end of May.
Yeah, we have 2 as well, but I don't know if we call it something out Memorial Day or something like that.
Either way, it's really late in the season when you consider they started in August and.
The only thing I could see happening if the Champions League happened is we would have to. You could say goodbye to the League Cup. I think there'd just be too many games being played there. You could keep the FA Cup, but I think the League Cup would have to go, which would be a crying shame because I think some of the lower league clubs use it as a survival in terms of getting drawn against a Premier League team and get the TV gate, getting the increasing crowd revenue. But I don't think it's a long way to go yet before anything like this gets implemented. But hey, I'd be quite happy.
I would be more interested in them getting instant replay or goal line technology before they expand the Champions League. Yeah. That's just my personal opinion.
Okay. Just Liverpool's next game, 1st December, home to Southampton. Southampton, a bit of a good run recently, but still find themselves in the bottom 3, placed below Aston Villa, who are fighting against your prediction as much as they can, Nick. I honestly think that Nigel Adkins is a native Scouser. He's from that part. He's from that part of the world, but I think that'll be the only welcome he gets. Ricky Lambert, top goal scorer for Southampton as well. He's a Scouser as well. I think they may want to put a performance in Southampton, but their record at Anfield's terrible, and I think that Liverpool will be back to winning ways quite convincingly over the weekend. Now, I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to the Reds.
The game is at Anfield.
The games at Liverpool this season, I think, have won every game at 3:00. They've played in, so that's about 4 games, which tells you the draw Liverpool means they don't play many games at 3:00 in the afternoon.
All I know is Southampton had a 2-1 lead on United earlier in the year. They've got some game. They've just had some run of bad luck.
Yeah, I think what happens is they put all the effort in against the bigger teams, and then they exacerbate themselves after about 80 minutes, and the likes of the big teams are so good and so clinical at putting the ball past them.
I would not be shocked if this is a 1-1 draw.
Ooh.
I'm just saying, I wouldn't be shocked. Suarez will score your only goal.
Yeah,
probably Lambert will score a goal too.
Yeah. Well, if Howard Webb's the referee, I might say it's a 1-1 draw.
What's your beef with Howard Webb, man? Come on. It's a good ref.
Oh. If you support United, he's a good ref.
Absolutely.
Actually, he's not a bad referee at all. I'm sure it'll come. If you look at the stats, he probably just gives as many decisions away to Liverpool as he does to United as well. So,
Would you rather have Mark Clattenburg?
I actually don't think Mark Clattenburg's a bad referee. I just think that Chelsea have got a lot to answer for, and you shouldn't go
throw the ref under the bus, right?
Yeah, well, you shouldn't go flinging your own dirt in your own cage, really, should you? Anything like that, Chelsea.
Right.
There you go. Anyway, stoppage time.
Stoppage time. That's right.
Or as Man City fans chanted, we won the league in Fergie time. Then at the end of the last season.
I don't want to hear about that.
Can't hear that. Results tonight in the Premier League: Chelsea 0, Fulham 0. Yeah, it's going really well at the Bridge at the moment. Chelsea maintain their unbeaten run under Rafa Benitez, and Torres, continues his fine form in front of goal. Everton 1, Arsenal 1. Boring. Move on. Southampton 1, Norwich 1. Norwich are going really well at the moment. Another valuable point for the Canaries tonight. They're up to 13th position. They're only the same points as Liverpool at the moment, and we move on. Stoke 2, Newcastle 1. Newcastle are really plummeting at the moment through the league. 2 late goals for Stoke City secure the win for the Potters in that game.
Newcastle was up 1-0 too in this game, and
Yeah.
I'm stunned. How about Newcastle? They signed Pardew to that deal, and
Yeah.
hello.
Well, I criticised it going at 8 years. That is completely stupid and moronic of them doing so.
Ever since they haven't done anything.
Yeah, it's just, I think they've really, really slackened up there, Newcastle United. Swansea 3, West Brom 1. Again, Swan's a loner. Scored magnificent football, 3-0 up in the first half an hour. West Brom claw a goal back, but it's too late. Michu, arguably the player of the season at the moment. He's been absolutely wonderful for the Swans.
Absolutely.
And the other game I haven't touched upon this evening: Wigan 0, Man City 2. Again, just run of the mill really for the Sky Blues there at Wigan. Man City now going on a bit of a run and challenging United at the top of the Premier League. A couple of the Saturday games: Villa 0, Arsenal 0. Arsenal disappointing result. Villa fighting on for their lives. Everton 1, Norwich 1. Everton love a score draw. Stoke 1, Fulham 0. Like I said, the Potters are doing quite well at the moment and are so good at home. Wigan 3, Reading 2. Wigan pull away from trouble. Reading go further into it. And Sunderland 2, West Brom 4. Sunderland are in real trouble at the moment and Martin O'Neill's under a lot of pressure for spending a lot of money in the summer for the Black Cats. In addition, it was Sunderland 0, QPR 0. A bad result for Sunderland. But, QPR get a point and they need all the help they can get at this moment in time. So at the moment, the Barclays Premier League, bottom 3, Southampton, Reading, QPR. Top 4, United, City, Chelsea, West Brom. Spurs in 5th position. And there's about 9 points between 6th and 17th. So it's quite a tight league at the moment. You go on a good run, you shoot up. You go on a bad run, you can find yourself in a relegation battle. If you're like Liverpool, we stick around 11th to 12th.
Well, hey, everybody. Thanks for putting up with my awful voice this week. Mike, have a good week. We'll catch up next week. Hope your Reds do well. And that is going to do it for episode 16 of Red vs. Red. Give us a follow on Twitter at SPNT_Red vs. Red and email us at redvsred@spnt.tv. For Mike Smith, I'm Nick Suberling. We'll see you next week.